guess what our talk today is about? Money, yes! I don't usually talk about money, but we get to talk about it today. So are you expecting money to come to you?
Yes.
Are you looking for it? Are you welcoming of it?
Yes.
I hope so, because you're going to get it. If you expect it, if you look for it, and if you welcome it. Today, our talk is titled, Money is God in Action. And it's based on this book by Raymond Charles Barker by the same name. Raymond Charles Barker was a student of Ernest Holmes, our founder. And he studied with Ernest, and then Ernest said, you go start a church. And so he sent him to New York City to start a church there. Ernest was in California. So let's spread the country. Let's spread this word. And this was a book that Raymond Charles Barker wrote. Little book, but has lots of great wisdom to it. And so we get to look today at what is our consciousness about money. And do we welcome money into our lives? Or do we reject money, thinking whatever our belief is? Yes to Love was singing about our belief of money. So do we believe that money is good, or do we see money as bad? That might sound crazy to you, but some people were raised with a belief that, you don't trust people that have money. They're not trustworthy. They didn't get their money legitimately. And so if that's a belief you have, I invite you to get to heal that belief. And recognize that our bank account is not our source. It's really Spirit. And Spirit is unlimited. So Spirit is always providing for us. And are we willing to open ourselves and allow that to happen? Or do we want to shut down that flow? Ernest Holmes, I went to the Science of Mind textbook. I looked at the glossary for the definition of money. And Ernest tells us what money is. Why don't you read this with me together? The symbol of God's substance, the idea of spiritual supply objectified. And Spirit is God's Spirit, and man is God's creation. Spirit is man's substance, but Spirit is all. So money is an expression of substance. Now, I don't know about you, but sometimes I have a hard time understanding Ernest Holmes.
Yeah.
What are you trying to say, Ernest? So I went and I looked up, well, what does substance mean? And in the glossary of the textbook, it says, substance, the formless back of all forms. So, let me break this down for you a little bit. What is formless? Something you can't see, but it's there, it's just formless. And form is the manifestation, what we can see, right? So it's saying that the substance is what is behind that we can see. So we have life. Our life comes from God. God is the formless behind the form, our life, our body. So we are animated, we have our lives, we have our bodies, and what gives us that life? It's Spirit, right? So when we look at it that way, substance just means it's Spirit. It's that formless back of all form. So if I look at this definition of money again, the symbol of God's substance. In other words, it's the symbol of God, the formless behind that form. Money is the form, and God is the source of it. Are you following me?
Yes.
Okay, good. So it's telling us that this is a spiritual idea of supply. Spiritually, we know that we can have anything because we are one with God, and God is unlimited. Therefore, our lives are unlimited, and our source, our substance here, which is God behind us, creating us, is unlimited. As God is Spirit, yes, we know that. And man is God's creation. God created us, right? We can understand that piece. Spirit is man's substance. So it's saying man's substance, man's form. Spirit is what's behind it. Isn't that what I just said? God gives us our life, gives us our breath, causes our heart to beat. So that is the substance behind our lives, and that's what God gives us, is our lives. It says, but Spirit is all, and we say that here. God is all there is. Spirit is all there is. There's not two forces. There's not good and evil. There's only God. There's only good. And so when we recognize that all is one, it says, so money is an expression of substance. The formless behind the form. Money is the form, and what's behind money? God. So money is God energy. God energy flowing into our lives and out of our lives. And we're in that flow of circulation as we give and we receive. I spoke a couple weeks ago about how sometimes we don't feel worthy to receive. And so when we're not receiving in, it's hard to be giving out, isn't it? And if we receive in and we never give out, our lives become stagnant. We start living in fear because we think, oh my gosh, if I give away what I have, I may not get any more. Well, where is your trust in God that God is always providing? Ernest says, this is a simple philosophy. And you see how simple it is? God gives to us, and we give to others. We circulate that. It's simple, but it's not easy. Ernest says it's not easy because we have these blocks in our minds that say, wait a minute, who would give away all this money? Wait a minute, who would do that? You know, I only have a limited supply. Oh, really? Well, let's look at this, because I just think it said that the substance, the supply, is the formless behind the form, so it's God behind us, the manifestation, and God is unlimited. Didn't we say that? So we are unlimited. We don't have to worry. We just have to be open and allow Spirit to flow into us in the form of money, in the form of relationships, in the form of work, whatever it is. When we're open to it and we're not blocking it with our beliefs, then we're able to accept, to receive, and to give. Let me try one more thing on for you. This came to me when we're looking at substance and trying to think about the formless behind the form. It's like the moon. The moon reflects the sun. What is the moon's power? It's the sun, right? So what is our power? It's God. We're just reflecting God into the world. We say we're expressions of the divine. And we each are an individual, unique expression. So we don't need to judge other people. We just accept the expression that they are because it's all God. It's all one. And it's like the moon reflecting the sun. We are reflecting God. Does that help some of you?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Because that's all I've got with that. Let's try another slide. Raymond Charles Barker, in this book, Money is God in Action, says, money is a vital part of the necessary circulatory system of this age. As it is a necessity for the economic health of all of us, it must be a spiritual idea. Again, this idea is spiritual in the supply and in the giving out and receiving, the law of circulation. The moment you shift your attention from the concept that money is evil to the belief that money is wonderful, you will begin to have a greater circulation of money in your life. Would you like a greater circulation of money in your life? Ernest says, change your thinking, change your life. So here is an opportunity for us to change our thinking about money. Now, most of you are probably sitting here saying, Reverend Rick, I have no problem with money. I love money, I'll take money. But when we get down to the core of us, do we really believe, have that faith that Spirit is providing for us, and that we really will have all we need? And we can give and know that as we give, we're also being blessed and we're receiving. So it's really about opening ourselves up to being in that flow, the flow of life, the flow of energy, the flow of God. For many people, the first step is to get over the belief that there is something wrong with money. I read where it says, people tend to think that money is bad. I had a hard time relating to that one. But Raymond Charles Barker says that's not true. Money is not bad. So let's look at how money could be good and how we can use that. He says money is just a way to congeal the energy for us to demonstrate in life. So what kind of things do you demonstrate with your life, with your money, with the substance of what you have? There are many ways that people have a relationship with money, and I want to share a story with you. See if you relate to this kind of experience with money. Is this your relationship? A Jewish girl brings her fiancé home to meet her parents. After dinner, mother tells her father to go out and get to know the young man, see what he's about. And so the father invites him into his study. So, son, what are your plans? He asks the fiancé. I am a Torah scholar. A Torah scholar, the father says. Admirable. But how are you going to buy my daughter a beautiful engagement ring such as she deserves? And the young man said, I will study, and God will provide for us. And what will you do to give her a nice house such as she's accustomed to here? And again the man says, I will concentrate on my studies, and God will provide for us. And children, how will you provide for your children? And the young man says, don't worry, sir, I will study, and God will provide. The conversation went on like this for a while. You get the gist of it. And so after their conversation, the mother comes up to the father and says, well, how did it go? What did you find out? And the father says, I have good news and I have bad news. He says, the bad news is that he has no job. He has no plans. And the good news is, he thinks I'm God. The only source we have is God. It's not our father-in-law. Hear that, Kelly? That was a cheap shot, wasn't it? Money, all the money we have is a gift from God. So our source is not really our bank account, although we do tend to go and look at our checking account to check on our abundance, don't we? Many people do that. Our source is not that checking account. Our source is not the title that we have. It's not the job we hold. It's not our father-in-law. Our source is Spirit itself. God is our source. We know that God is unlimited. So this supply of money, this supply of energy, God energy in our life is unlimited. We just need to find ways to allow it to flow to us, to let it be revealed to us. I love the next slide. Well, I like this one too. Okay. Well, probably because I forgot to say that. This was another part of Raymond Charles Barker's book. Anything we love increases, and anything we criticize moves out of our lives. The first step towards abundance is to love money. So in other words, don't look at money as bad because that's going to keep it away from us. We need to recognize that money is good and allow it to flow into our lives. Here, now this is a slide I really love. God is your source. Everything else is just a resource. God gives to us, that's our source, and we get to re-gift it, if you will, to others. That's the flow that goes on. God is our source, and everything else is a resource. So we are resourcing it to other people. There are certain belief systems in people that will shield them and keep them from the receipt of money. So to get rid of that shield that blocks money from flowing to you is to expand your consciousness. And the way we expand consciousness, our beliefs, our mindset, is to use spiritual practice. So praying to be open to money, praying that money will flow to you, and believing that God is your source, meditating upon money. And what can you do to improve your life and the life of others with money? There's the joke about the guy that keeps praying to win the lottery and praying to win the lottery, and after several years, he hears the voice of God that says, "Help me out, buy a ticket." So are we allowing that flow to come? I want to share another story with you about how people can use money to help one another and be in that flow. This was a story in the Denver Post this week, in case you didn't see it. I read this article, and this was about Kate McClure. Kate McClure was driving to Philadelphia, and she ran out of gas on her way. So she pulled her car off the interstate onto a ramp and got partway up the ramp, and the car stopped. So she knew she needed to get out and go find some gas. She pulled over. She got out of the car. This homeless man, Johnny Bobbitt, saw her because this was the area that he lived in and stayed in. And he walked up to her and said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "I've run out of gas. I need to go get some gas." He said, "This is not a safe area for you. You cannot be out here. Let me go get it. You go back in your car, lock the doors, and stay there until I come back." And so this homeless man, Johnny Bobbitt, walked to the gas station, took the only $20 that he had, bought a container, and bought gas for her, and came back and put the gas in her car. And then he told her, "You're good to go now. You can go on." She was very appreciative. She didn't even have any cash on her to be able to pay him back. And so what she did was for several weeks, she kept coming back to the same ramp. And she would give Johnny different things. She repaid the money. She gave him some clothes. She gave him a warm jacket, a hat, some gloves, some socks. And he was always so appreciative of what she was doing. And she said, "I want to help this man. He helped me, and he didn't need to. He didn't have to go do that for me." And so her heart was opened. And she set up a GoFundMe page. She said, "What I want to do is I want to raise $10,000 so that I can help him get an apartment and some transportation and be able to live for the next 4 to 6 months, in some kind of style, not having to be on the streets." Well, she set up the GoFundMe page. Then she started kind of chronicling on the page the conversation she was having with Johnny, because she said he never expected anything. And he really was about being grateful to her for everything she gave, everything she did. She didn't tell him she was doing this GoFundMe page. She just did it. She wanted to raise $10,000, and as of Thursday, she had raised $252,000. You think one person can't change lives, can't help people? She and her fiance are now helping looking for a place, more permanent residence for Johnny Bobbitt to live. And they're going to help him with that. She and her fiance found a hotel where he could stay for the holiday weekend until they can get more suitable housing. And so they're able to pay for that through this fund. To me, that is God in action. That is money in action. People using the source that they've been given. Was it all money? No. She used her heart, and she opened her heart. And look what happened. Other people responded with their money to pool that to help. So we don't need to sit here and think, there's not anything I can do. I'm only one person. Kate McClure was only one person. But look at how she's changing Johnny Bobbitt's life. Look at what opportunities she's giving to other people to be blessed by what they're giving. CSL Parker has opportunities to give, and we have given in many ways. Through our benevolence committee, we've been able to do help for the homeless programs in the Parker area. We've been able to support global teachings of the Science of Mind philosophy. We've been able to help 12-step recovery groups. And we've helped the Ronald McDonald House. There's many more opportunities and things that we have done as a center. And many more that we will do in the future. And that's part of why we come together and we give. It's not just about what we're doing here, but it's about the raising the vibration and helping to move out into the community, doing what we can do as individuals and even more as a collective body, as a spiritual center here. We have an opportunity right now. Thank you to Mark and Sharon for the opportunity to support the residents at Victorian House. On the table back here is the angel tree. And so I was very impressed when I saw the email from the lady at Victorian House. She went through it and interviewed, if you will, each one of the residents and said, what would you like for Christmas? What would be a nice gift for you? Now, I read through them, and some of them were cute. It's like all the men were like, I'm interested in football. That was it. The women had a whole list of things. And I love that, you know. Say what you want, expect it, and let's go for it. And so there are gift tags back there that you can take, and you can bless somebody else's life through that angel tree. Another way that we can reach out into the community. So money is God in action, and we can be a part of that action as we allow ourselves to be open to the flow. We have to expect good to come into our lives and know that as we have good in our lives, we are abundantly blessed. And so we can give lavishly because we know we receive from the lavishness of God, of Spirit. And in case you haven't seen it, you might want to walk up and look at our altar today, because I love it's not a $1 bill that Reverend Marilyn put up here, but a $1,000 bill that's God in action. So how open are we to seeing God in action and being a piece of that action? One more story I want to share with you to let you know that you are blessed. And you never know where that blessing is going to come from. In ancient times, a king had a boulder placed on a road. There it is. Then he hid himself to watch and see if anyone would remove this huge rock. Some of the king's wealthiest merchants passed by and simply walked around it. Many loudly blamed the king for not keeping the roads clear. But none of them did anything to remove the boulder. Then a peasant came by carrying a load of vegetables. On approaching the boulder, he laid down his vegetables and he started pushing on the stone to move it to the side of the road. He pushed and strained. He wasn't sure he was going to be able to move it. And finally, he was able to move it enough to get it to the side of the road. to make free passage for everyone else. As he turned to pick up his load of vegetables, he noticed there was a purse laying where the stone had been. He went and he picked up the purse and opened it. There were gold coins in the purse and a note from the king that said that these gold coins were for whoever would remove the boulder. It made a difference in the peasant's life. But the peasant was willing to do the work of moving the boulder, of helping to make free passage for other people. Are you willing to help other people improve their lives through what you can do? If you are, you'll be amazed at the blessings that you have. The things that will flow into your life unexpectedly, but they will be there because God is our source, and we get to resource that to others. Let us pray. I am grateful for the knowledge of God as my source. And so I speak my word for each one of us in gratitude, knowing that as we have received, we can give freely and lavishly. And as we give, we also will find more and more flowing to us. And so we open ourselves to that unlimited supply of money, supply of friendships, supply of love, supply of joy, and the supply of peace. For it all comes from Spirit. God is our source. As we give, we also receive back. And so we do not want to restrict that flow. Spirit, help us to keep our flow open in life, to give, and to be open to receive and receive more and more good. We are grateful, and gratitude is the place that keeps our mind open to Spirit and open to the many ways that we can receive blessings. I know this is the truth for each one of us. I know this is the truth for CSL Parker. And so as we sit in gratitude now, I release my word into the universe that always says yes. Yes. I open myself. I release it, and together we say, and so it is.